For the past couple of years, every time I tried a new spatial computing product, I've had exactly the same reaction. Wow, that's really cool. Then I take it off, I go back to my laptop, and it never really becomes part of my everyday workflow. When XREAL invited me to a private 1-hour demo of the new XREAL Aura powered by Android XR, I expected something similar. I figured I'd see some impressive technology, leave thinking that it was interesting, and then move on. But after I tried it, I left thinking about all the places where I would actually use it. Now, before I get into why, I do want to mention that this video is sponsored by XREAL, but what you're about to hear is just my first impressions after spending about an hour with the product. This isn't a review because I don't have my own pair, but once I do, I'll put them through real-world testing and make a proper review. Today's really about the experience and why I walked away more excited than I expected. The first thing that surprised me wasn't even when I turned them on, it was just putting them on. Until now, most spatial computing experiences included wearing something that immediately looks and feels like a big tech wearable. The XREAL Aura is different because it just feels like you're putting on a pair of glasses. Almost all of the heavy lifting happens inside a separate computer puck that you put in your pocket, and that keeps the glasses themselves under 95 grams. And yes, there's still a cable connecting the glasses to the puck, so this isn't a completely wireless experience. But after a couple of minutes, I totally stopped thinking about it, and if moving the processor and the battery off my face is what makes these comfortable enough to wear for hours, then I would make that trade-off every single time. At the moment, everything changed for me is when we opened the interface and started putting windows around me. So Chrome, YouTube, a bunch of other apps, and all of a sudden it felt like an entire workstation floating around me. And that was the point where my brain stopped looking at this as another cool demo and started thinking about my own workflow. If you've watched this channel for any length of time, you've probably seen my desk. I've been using a 6-monitor setup for the past 12 years. I used it for editing, I used it for development, I used it for design, for research, so I'm always jumping between windows. At the same time, I travel a lot. CES, MWC, product releases, or I'm just flying somewhere to review a product. So I spent a ton of time trying to work from airport lounges, from hotel rooms, from coffee shops, and tiny tray tables on airplanes. And most of the time, I'm trying to squeeze everything into a single laptop display. The funny part is that they're sitting there explaining the features and my brain has already moved on. The whole time I'm sitting there thinking, this is the setup that I've wanted every time I've traveled. And what got me really excited is that after a full hour, the glasses were still super comfortable and I didn't feel like I needed to take them off to give my face a break. Then they showed me Gemini, and I think that's where things got really interesting. So you've probably used AI assistants by now on your phone, on a computer, or wherever, somewhere else, but this felt different because for the first time, I didn't have to explain what I was looking at. This is where AI stopped feeling like a chatbot and actually started feeling like an assistant. During one demo, they had me playing a game, and instead of stopping to search online for help, I could just ask Gemini what to do next. But because it could actually see the game, it immediately understood the context. But in my mind, I jumped to video editing. Can you imagine editing a video in Premiere and you're frustrated with some effect that isn't doing what you want it to do, or you can't remember where a particular setting is? And now instead of having to describe everything that you're looking at, Gemini is already looking at the exact same timeline and can help you find the answer. Now, Gemini doesn't just see what's on your virtual display, it also sees your environment, assuming you give it permission, obviously. So there are other examples of how you could interact and ask questions about objects in the real world. From my perspective, the interaction with the UI felt really organic. So you can control the interface with hand gestures, you can use voice commands, and you can use the trackpad on the compute puck. So I think that even if you haven't used other XR products, after a couple of minutes, you'll be grabbing windows, moving them around, resizing them, and pinning them without any problems. The display quality also looked really nice during my demo. The 70-degree field of view made the workspace feel open, and everything I interacted with looked bright and sharp, and the animations were smooth. Another thing that I really liked is that XREAL Aura isn't limited to running Android XR apps. You can connect a laptop, a handheld gaming device, or another USB-C display source, then turn it into a huge virtual display. Again, that's where I stopped thinking about XR glasses as a concept and I started started thinking about replacing part of my travel setup. Editing videos from a hotel room, doing research and writing scripts in the airport, reviewing footage while I'm sitting in a coffee shop, those are situations that I deal with all the time, and that's why this felt practical. Now, I do want to keep all of this in perspective. This wasn't a week-long review. It wasn't even like a full day. So like I said, I spent about an hour with the XREAL Aura in a guided private demo, and that's simply not enough time to answer the types of questions that I would normally answer in a review. I don't know what long-term battery life is like. I don't know how comfortable they'll feel after wearing them for an entire flight. I haven't lived with them long enough to know what little quirks might come up after a week or two. Those are exactly the things that I'll be testing once I get my own pair. What I can say is this: I walked into the demo expecting to be impressed by technology, and then I walked out thinking about the first trip that I'm gonna take after getting these. And that's a very different outcome. For me, that's always a really good sign, because the best technology isn't necessarily the most impressive. It's the technology that fits into your life and that makes what you already do better. If you're interested in getting your hands on the XREAL Aura, there's a reservation link down below. It costs $99 to reserve, and then $99 becomes $199 in credit when XREAL launches this fall. So you're not just reserving your place, you're actually getting extra money towards your purchase. I'm really looking forward to spending more time with these once I get my own pair, because I think the real test isn't what happens during a 1-hour demo, it's what happens after some time traveling, editing, working, and living with them. That's the video I'm really excited to make. Until then, I'd love to hear what you think. Is this finally the direction you want to see spatial computing go? Let me know in the comment section. You know what I always say, buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.